One of the easiest ways to graph linear functions is from a table. So that's where we're going to start. Where do you get the points to graph? Well, first you're going to make sure that your equation has been solved for y. In our example, we have y equals negative x plus 3. So that's already ready for us. Then you're going to choose 3 values for x to make your table. Students usually have the hardest time finding those 3 values. If you can, use a negative, like -1, 0, and 1. If that doesn't make sense, you could go 0, 1, 2, 3, or 2, 4, 6, but you have to choose those values. So keep it simple if you're going to choose. Then plug your x values into the equation and solve for y. So you've picked your x values, you're going to solve for y. So in our example, like I said, we're going to do y equals negative 2x plus 3. Now I'm going to go and start a blank page and give you a little tip here. So I chose -1, 0, and 1 for my inputs, and then remember when x was -1, y was 4, when x was 0, y was 3, when x was 1, y was 2. These numbers now become my ordered pair. Remember, an ordered pair is just x and y. So when x is -1, y is 4, 0, 3, and 1, 2. And if I have 3 ordered pairs, then I can graph. So to graph the line, you're going to plot those 3 points on your coordinate plane. Check to make sure the points make a straight line. This is really important because if one of your points is off, then you probably made an arithmetic error somewhere. So the nice thing about it is it should be obvious if it's on a straight line, so you can go back and figure out where you made your mistake. Use your 3 points instead of 2 because any 2 points make a straight line. So using 3 will show you if there's a mistake. And then last, and for some reason the most forgotten step, is to draw the line through the 3 points using a straight edge. Now a straight edge can be a ruler or a protractor. It could be the edge of your math book or your binder, but use a straight edge. If you try to freehand it, then it's not going to be a straight line. So let's look at this practice here. Our function is y equals 1/2 x minus 2, or 0.5 times x minus 2. Complete the table, plot the points, and draw the line. Now, I don't know about you, but if I take 1/2 times 1, I'm going to get 1/2, and I don't really want to plot that kind of point. So think for a second, what kind of number could I multiply times 1/2 for 0.5 and get a whole number? Even numbers. So instead of picking -1, 0, 1, I'm going to pick, you could do 2, 4, 6, -2, 0, 2, anything that is an even number. So I'm going to put -2, 0, that's supposed to be a 0, and 2. Complete the table, plot the points, draw the line. All right, I'm going to go to my scratch paper again. -3, -2, and -1. So now these become my ordered pairs. So the first ordered pair is -2, -3, 0, -2, and 2, -1. And I didn't say it before, but so I'm going to graph -2, -3, and just to point out, our x is here, y is here, so I'm going to go to -2, -3, 0, -2, and 2, -1. Now here's where you're going to want to use your straight edge because you don't want yours to look like mine because I have to freehand it. See how bad that is? Let me try again. That's not too bad. So use that straight edge and draw the lines. That is the third and final step. What I would do is instead of just having your usual XY table, which is fine, I would make a third column in the middle for your function. And in this case, our function is -x plus 3. This is just a way for you to show your work. And you might start doing it this way, and then once you get used to it, you can drop this step. But when you're getting started, I think it will help you. We're going to start with our x values that we chose, which again were -1, 0, and 1. And then we're going to just plug those into the function. So my function is negative, and instead of writing x, I'm going to write -1 plus 3. Negative x is 0 plus 3. And then -1 plus 3. And you can see, especially on this, it's very easy to make careless errors with negatives. So if you write it out this way, you're less likely to make one of those careless errors. So now we can just calculate -1, that's +1, plus 3 is 4. -0, or 0 plus 3 is 3. And -1 plus 3 is 2. So just to clarify one more time in case this doesn't make sense, this right here means -1 times -1. This means -1 times 0, and this means -1 times 1. So that's where I got those values. So my y values over here are 4, 3, and 2. So I'm going to go back to my notes now, and you could just do this on a separate sheet of paper on the side until you get the hang of it. And I'm going to draw my table, leaving a spot in the middle for my function, which was 0.5 or 1/2 times x minus 2. And then here's my y. So I'm going to choose -2, 0, and 2. So 0.5 times x, which is -2, minus 2. 0.5 times 0, minus 2. And 0.5 times 2, minus 2. So 1/2 of -2 is -1, minus 2 is -3. 1/2 times 0 is 0, minus 2 is -2. And 1/2 times 2 is 1, minus 2 is -1. So I'm going to go back and put those on my table on my note. On your scratch paper, you can even add another column over here for your ordered pairs. And again, this is just to help you organize your thoughts. That is quite sloppy, and I can draw that better. So my ordered pair here is -1, 4, 0, 3, 1, 2. And let me extend this one. -2, -3, 0, -2, and 2, -1. And so our 2-column T-chart now has 4 columns, but a chart or table is supposed to help us just convey our information in a neat and orderly fashion so someone else can read and understand it. And I think adding those columns definitely does that. So now I'm ready to do